history would be denied sight of this, the Empire's darkest hour. For 2,000 years, the forest kept its secret.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most tantalizing mysteries surrounding ancient Rome that were left unsolved for centuries.
It's possible science offers clues as to how big an effect the Antonine Plague had on the Roman Empire.
Number 10, the disappearance of the 9th Spanish Legion.
Every legion had its own extraordinary story, and the 9th Legion was no exception.
Officially known as Legio IX Hispana, the 9th Spanish Legion was a military unit of the Roman army that consisted of over 5,000 soldiers. However, it has since been nicknamed the Lost Legion, as it disappeared from all written records around the year 120.
It's the last time the 9th Legion is ever mentioned in history. Ever. That's it. It's never again mentioned in history.
So what the heck happened? Well, no one really knows, but we have a good idea. German historian Theodor Mommsen theorized that the Legion was eradicated in northern Britain, but evidence found in the Netherlands has since disproved it in the eyes of many scholars. It's more likely that the Legion was destroyed during the Bar Kokhba revolt of 132, in which the Jewish population of Judea rebelled against the controlling Roman Empire.
So the Romans lost a lot of troops, including a legion, in the Jewish revolt.
Number 9. Tberg Forest. The Battle of Tberg Forest is one of the most consequential in Roman history, and not in a good way. Also known as the Varian Disaster, various Roman legions were handily defeated by an alliance of Germanic tribes, thereby stopping the empire's expansion into Germania.
The attacks began almost immediately.
Despite being one of the most important battles in European history, the site of the ambush remained unknown for almost 2,000 years. That is, until an amateur archaeologist found Roman coins in the German village of Kalkriese. Specifically, the ambush seems to have occurred on Kalkriese Berg, a huge hill measuring just over 500 feet.
It also put Varus and his army at Kalkriese, a long, long way from the relative safety of either the Rhine or the Lippe.
Ancient battle debris and human remains have been found in the area, which seems to confirm Kalkriese as the legendary Tberg Forest.
Besides weapons, there were civilian implements, tools, scraps of armor, and a spectacular cavalry officer's mask.
Number 8. The hair of a Vestal virgin. When it comes to ancient Rome, it may seem like all the power lay with the emperor. Nah, more like the Vestal virgins.
Free from any male guardianship, they became the brides of Rome itself.
Serving as priestesses of the goddess Vesta, these women guarded her sacred flame in the Temple of Vesta and enjoyed substantial public privileges as a result. A Vestal's hair was extremely elaborate, consisting of many intertwined braids, and most Roman scholars assumed that they were wigs. But hairstyle archaeologist, yes, that is a thing, Janet Stevens proved otherwise in 2013. She defied academic assumption and recreated the Vestal hairstyle for the first time in modern history. It finally put the wig theory to bed and verified that it was done using the Vestal's real hair.
The Seni Crinus is now complete.
Number 7. Palmyra. Found smack in the middle of Syria is the ancient site of Palmyra, which was a very prosperous trade city in the Roman Empire. There was just one large mystery hanging over the city. How did it prosper in the middle of the Syrian desert, especially without modern amenities? Norwegian and Syrian researchers finally answered that question in 2012. They found that Palmyra is not situated on a desert, but on arid steppe and grass roots lying underneath the soil that prevented rainwater from soaking into the ground. This surface rainwater was then collected using dams and cisterns, providing the city with water and allowing crops to grow. In the words of Dr. Ian Malcolm, life, finds a way. Number 6. Hannibal crosses the Alps.
In a campaign that has become a legend, Hannibal marched his forces over the Alps and turned Italy into a battlefield.
In the year 218 BCE, the Carthaginian general Hannibal conducted one of the most startling feats in military history. Carthage and Rome were at war, and Hannibal's forces were prevented from moving east owing to substantial Roman garrisons. So he and his army went around them, through the Alps. Hannibal headed north through Spain and Gaul before crossing the Alps into Italy.
I think it's amazing even now to think how an army could have crossed the Alps.
His exact route was a mystery for over 2,000 years, but a likely answer was finally provided in 2016. By studying, of all things, ancient deposits of animal poop, it was theorized that Hannibal moved through the bridle pass of Col de la Traversette. While this is not definitive, it's widely regarded as the most likely explanation.
That's the way that Hannibal would have come in.
Number 5. The Skull of Otranto. A coastal town in southern Italy, Otranto was besieged by the Ottomans in 1480. The male citizens were given a choice: convert to Islam or die. Refusing to abandon Christianity, they were summarily executed. They are now known as the Martyrs of Otranto, and one of their skulls is adorned with 16 holes. These mystery perforations went unexplained for centuries until a team from the University of Pisa cracked the case in 2015. They deduced that the holes were made by a trepan, as someone had cut into the skull to remove the bone powder. You see, back then it was believed that drinking a mixture of water and human bone would create a tonic that could heal various afflictions. Number 4. An ancient plague. The Black Death is well documented, occurring between 1346 and 1353 and killing up to 60% of the European population.
The Antonine Plague takes a heavy toll.
But that was hardly the first plague to decimate Rome. Back in the late 2nd century, the Roman Empire was besieged by the Antonine Plague, named after Emperor Antoninus Pius.
This will be called the Antonine Plague, after the dynasty of emperors currently in charge.
The plague claimed up to 10 million lives, or about 10% of the Roman population. Nothing was known about the disease in its time, but a Greek physician named Galen transcribed the symptoms in his writings. It's through these writings that scholars have been able to identify the disease as smallpox. Some disagree, arguing that it could be measles, but most scholars agree on the smallpox thesis.
Smallpox is one of the greatest killers in human history, and was only finally eradicated in the 1970s.
Number 3. The spot of Caesar's assassination. Serving as one of the most famous events in Roman history, dictator Julius Caesar was assassinated on March 15, 44 BC.
But then someone else stabbed him in the side. This was to prove the killer blow.
Caesar was stabbed to death inside the Curia of Pompei, and part of the larger theater of Pompei that was used for political meetings. Shortly after his death, the Curia was walled up and set on fire, and the exact location of Caesar's murder became lost to history. It wasn't rediscovered until the early 20th century, when workers uncovered what is now known as Largo de Torre Argentina, or Argentina Tower Square. This square houses the remains of Pompei's theater, and with its discovery, we finally unearthed, quite literally, the location of the infamous stabbing. Number 2. Roman concrete. The Romans were amazing architects. Not only did they create some of the most iconic buildings in human history, but these buildings were made with a remarkably durable form of concrete.
At the origin of their success, innovation, with the creation of a revolutionary new material, concrete.
For centuries, the strength, durability, and pristine condition of this concrete baffled scientists. But in 2023, academics from MIT and Harvard discovered that the hardiness of Roman concrete stems from lime clasts placed in the mixture. These visible white flecks were once regarded as mere imperfections in the concrete, but they were actually part of the engineering.
Roman concrete is a mixture of lime, sand, water, of course aggregates. Basically, it's modern concrete.
When a crack appears in the material, these lime clasts break and release calcium. This calcium then travels through the crack and reacts with seeping water to seal the fracture. Yep, the Romans made self-healing concrete.
Concrete definitely represents a revolution in Roman constructions.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. The location of Pompei. Arguably the most famous ancient Roman city outside of Rome itself, Pompei was famously destroyed by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD.
An entire living city wiped out. Thousands of its people buried alive.
The location of Pompei was soon forgotten, a mythical lost city in the vein of Atlantis, only, real. It remained lost for over 1,500 years until an architect named Domenico Fontana rediscovered it while building an aqueduct. But for whatever reason, Fontana kept this finding to himself. Some of the city's walls were excavated in 1693, bringing public attention to the area for the first time. It wasn't until 1763 that workers found a sign reading Re Publicae Pompeianorum, officially identifying the buried city as the long-lost Pompeii.
17 centuries later, archaeologists rediscovered a city frozen in time.
What do you make of these answers? Let us know in the comments below.
Wow, this is so beautiful.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.